Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to get underway. Map number 1, game number 1 here in ESL Challenger League. The Asia Division, Born in Mongolia, take on Never Say Never. And it's Born in Mongolia with that T-side start on Dust2. Sam, what a game this is going to be.
Oh yeah, this is going to be really interesting. I mean, we know that this is Born in Mongolia's map pick, so obviously Never Say Never going to be starting off on that CT side. And well, Born in Mongolia have stacked every little piece of util just about onto Hasteka, someone we had highlighted as, you know, kind of a linchpin for this team. So looking to let him get in hard and fast and hopefully open up a site for them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Hasteka has to be someone you keep an eye on towards today. We mentioned already kind of with the experience of D13, but he's been a player who, as I said, did it domestically and, of course, has proved himself in EU. The question is, can he today risk going for an aggressive peak, but it's going to be Flames kickstart things brilliantly. Risk will fall. Born in Mongolia takes the opening engagement, man advantage in their favour. Now that bomb starts to make its way over towards A. Miami going to avoid the flash. The USP will come alive for 1. Looking to make it 2, but this time not going to be able to deliver. And as we speak, Vayne answers one of his own for that long push. Leaves it all down to 2. Ruben. Yukino, very tough, precarious 2 versus 4. This retake now got not a lot behind it because they've got no utility and no kit.
I mean, this is a great start for Born in Mongolia. We've seen a lot of games very recently, in fact, where the pistol round tends to be incredibly chaotic. Everyone just kind of like meets in mid, you know, and they just like shoot the hell out of each other. But this time around, Mongolia, they play a slightly slower play style, a little bit of chip damage towards mid, get a little bit of information, and then they start heading up through short over towards A. I liked seeing how Miami was able to actually dodge out that pop flash. And again, that game sense on point, but isn't quite able to continue holding down the site. So Born in Mongolia clean up, get quite a few kills for themselves, get that bomb down, win out the round, and that means that coming into this round, they've got quite a bit of cash to spend.
Exactly that. Match has been paused, though, as we just, hold and wait. And we'll get back into this game momentarily. What a good start, though. As you mentioned with Born in Mongolia, the opening kill goes their way, and then they just flood their way out towards the A side. It's kind of a very simple thing of just going aggressive, overwhelming the CT side, and making things quite difficult for Never Say Never, where they realize they just can't win out their aim duels. I mean, Miami finds himself 1, but that's really all they do fine. 9-10 with a beautiful 3K means that he himself has got an AK-47 to work with. You see a couple of Galils being brought on a Mac 10. With the buy that Never Say Never are going to be able to bring in, which is realistically nothing, they could potentially go for an upgraded pistol, but you want to stick around that 2K mark to give yourself some economy to work with. So this should be a second on the board for Born in Mongolia, because Never Say Never, they're just going to play for kind of give up a second round, but then be able to buy into a third.
Well, hopefully so. Of course, Never Say Never with the fact that they're now still just going to be on the USPs. Well, they might force in a little bit, but it's always so tough. They've got a teeny bit of cash here that they can use, and I think that most of it's going to be put into having that little bit of utility. I think trying to force up here could be very, very risky, particularly because we know how difficult it is for the CT side to build up economy, especially if they are, losing. So, this round is likely going to be one that goes in favor of Born in Mongolia, unless we see some serious heroics with a little bit of utility that they are going to have available. But logic tells me this is going to be a nice little 2-0, and then maybe on round 3, Never Say Never going to be able to come back into this. I mean, they've only bought a flash and a smoke, so they've spent like nothing in this round. They want to make sure that they're going to have weapons into the next.
And 10 once again. He's held up for 3K. Can he make it any more? Doesn't really matter. Magic comes in. Vayne will come in for support as well. Azteca with a Mac 10, finding one of his own, and it's all down to 1. It's Ruben. 1, 2, 3 in the smoke, and down he's going to fall. A ruthless round there from the Born in Mongolia side, but as expected, with the difference in firepower, he was only going to go one way. They're making a 2-0 start. Not really too much analysis needed there. They go for a gamble tackle towards long. Doesn't work, and Bob's your uncle. 2-0 start for Born in Mongolia. On the T side, to be building up kind of this wealth of a little bit of a gap in their favor is a very important thing. What now is the true test? The full buy coming out, and Never Say Never, they've gone for the quintuple M4s.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what we were kind of expecting. Well, not quintuple, quadruple. In fact,
M4A4, M4A1S, quintuple M4s.
Yeah, close enough. But yeah, so it's somewhat evenly matched in terms of weaponry. Of course, Born in Mongolia still have a couple of those Galils left over because why would you replace them? That's a complete waste of money. And the gun itself does exactly what it needs to do. So, no issues there. But I like that Never Say Never did the save in the previous round, made sure they had cash coming into this one. Now they've got some serious firepower to work with. They got to make it, work. Good positioning across the map here, fairly standard. But Born in Mongolia going for that A short push again. It worked out really well for them on the first round, but this time the A site slightly more heavily guarded.
Oh, Miami from that ram position, just holding on this left-hand side of the smoke. He's ever so aware potentially of a boost going to come forward. He's playing a slightly more aggressive stance. He's looking for information. But Born in Mongolia, their default back over towards short seems to be where they're have been finding a wealth of their success from. Well, it's all about timing. In comes the utility, and it looks like it's just a committal play now. Is he one in the flank? That evade, but what will they be able to find? In comes the Molotov in towards Goose. Miami pushed off that ramp position as well. Flash will catch him in the front of the way towards the side. Risk has to come alive. Good for one. Not quite able to make it a second, though. As Imagine steps up, Risk will fall. The quick trade's coming in, and actually numbers now favour the CT side. Bomb planted, but it all down to one. As that's Tekka. We sung his praises, but now he seriously needs to step up. Spawning out one in towards elevator, but they got all information on it. And a Molotov, I don't think, will be able to deny. On towards the bomb, it drops. I don't think they'll be able to deny the defuse coming forward and taking quite a lot of engagement. And just like that, Azteca falls. That's the first round. No, it's not. Ruben's going to fall to the Molotov, and that's unfortunate. So, a slight consolation kill, but nonetheless, it is going to be Never Say Never taking their first round.
Slight misplays there from Born in Mongolia. Good utility usage to get them in onto the site, but they don't check that first left corner, so get taken out there. And then they kind of, rely a little bit too much on the smokes to obscure them, so they don't check for that last person that's literally just around the corner. Either that or they somehow didn't spot him out. And unfortunately there, it's just a nice little mow down. So Never Say Never, off the back of their first buy, get themselves their first round. And it was a really good round as well, as I say. Just a bit of a misplay from BIM.
Slightly, ever so slightly. Not a bad start, though. Azteca finding the opener. Ruben going to fall. That's an important kill. Ruben has been a difference maker for this side's success. In comes an aid as well. A lot of damage down there. They're flooding their way over towards that B side. Risk elevates, trying to deny. But in comes Sula. Yukino, good for one himself. 9-10 in for the trade. Numbers favouring the CT side. One planted. And look at this flag from Azteca. Doesn't quite confirm the kill, and because that gets punished, Miami finds that kill and it leaves it all down to one man. 9-10 with a slither of HP to work with. Good for the first. Looking to make his second. Just going to play ever so passive. Flash will come forward. Not quite able to confirm once more. That's the second round of the board. This game tied up 2 rounds apiece. We always speak about that bomb plant over towards the beach out of Dust2 being one of the hardest to retake, but with the lacking numbers and the lacking health, I can retake confirmed and Never Say Never. Tie this game back up.
I mean, this was a really, really good CT side or CT round, I suppose. Born in Mongolia, they go for a slightly faster play. And I do like that they kind of change up their pacing a little bit from round to round, see, what's going to work the best for them. And, well, that slightly faster play doesn't quite get them the results that they were hoping for. Now we've got to keep our eyes on Risk. He's the one that's picked up that AWP. And, of course, this is a save for Born in Mongolia. Basically, nothing spent into this. They got one flash there. Sorry, smoke. And Never Say Never, of course, completely kitted out. So this is going to be a fairly one-sided round. And hopefully coming into the next, BIM will have a little bit more to show.
We're above Miami. He spots it out. Doesn't quite confirm the shot and the deagle of Flame. What a shot it is as well. Domes Miami out of the equation. Azteca will fall, though. Numbers brought level. Despite it being not much of a buy by Born in Mongolia, just the upgraded pistols, they're still causing a nuisance. At the very least, when you're not bringing in too much in terms of the economy, at the very least, cause a couple of problems. This shot by Risk could be punished, and it wills Vayne, deletes him from range. Doesn't matter you have a scope, the hand cannon comes on the top. Numbers now well in favour of Born in Mongolia, and so is that plant. Despite them having nothing to work with in terms of the rifles, it was only a few deagles. Born in Mongolia could be able to cause an upset in towards round number 5 and somehow, some way, take a third in their favour. And we completely counter them out. Ruben not coming for the swing, spotting out one, deal the damage. Molotov will find Vayne as well. All down to 2, and both have been spotted out. They can make their way free of charge on towards the side to the nade. Should be able to confirm a kill, which it does. What was a brilliant start for Born in Mongolia, as Never Say Never, who just about recover, but that got very close.
You know what? I think there's an unrealistic number of kills that go through there, particularly given that it was a bit of a save. I mean, we saw, the AWP from Risk just get absolutely obliterated. A slight timing there, caught sleeping at the wheel, reflexes just not quite available. And, okay, it was a little bit of a Ferrari swing, but still, you don't expect him to be missing those shots.
No.
So they do lose a couple of players, but it's not enough to really do too much damage to them. They're still going to be bringing in the AWP, but this is going to be the important one for Born in Mongolia. They're bringing in an AWP of their own, and that's going to be Imagine, looking to kind of take the fight here to Risk. And we're also seeing a much slower approach from Born in Mongolia. They realize that first, the fast plays that they were toying with earlier weren't really working out.
Tempo slowed down. Brilliant swing past Tekka. Quick change coming in. 9 times. We're going to fall. As Tekka makes it a double, though. Keeping them an advantage in Mongolia's favour. And Vayne will add to it even further. Veneration out of the count. It forces Yukino to just take a little bit of a step back. He doesn't want to be too over-aggressive. He knows he can be flanked from mid. So going to take that aggressive fight. And a smoke in towards front tunnels leaves him double guessing of where they could be coming from. And the two remaining players, I'll never say never, so isolated. One over towards A, one over towards B. Not exactly where they want to be as they're making their way over towards that B side from range. Yukino good for the first, looking to make it a second. Dinked in the making, though. And now has to be extremely careful. Down 57 points of HP. The swing going to come in and Vayne will confirm it. All alone now for Risk. He doesn't want to take any risks. He's going to fall over towards Pit. Keep that orb taken across, and that expensive investment in towards round number 7. But this game, once again, title square.
This is one of those things where it really just proves why having pressure across the map is so important. You see one death over towards the A site, there's 2 eliminations that happen towards mid, and then of course the final little cleanup happens over on the B side with Risk now trying to hold on to that AWP. And this wouldn't have been possible without all of that pressure consistently being held from Born in Mongolia. The hard and fast executes that we'd been seeing previously wouldn't really have netted them the same kind of results here. So it's nice to see the slower take, slower pacing, get that map control early on, and ensure that you're going to be able to kind of leverage off of that. They're hunting him here. And he can't hit the shot. That's the AWP taken away. That's a really important kill here for Born in Mongolia. That's going to set them up nicely into this next round.
Yeah, that's an extremely important kill because it means that now when you look towards the CT side, they have the inability to pick up that AWP. They can't challenge Imagine, and that now brings a wealth of success over towards Born in Mongolia in the kind of early stages of round number 7 because they know they're going to be able to win out those long-range battles. You look towards the CT buy as well, and it's very dicey. They've gone for the Force, but even that means they're bringing in a FAMAS and a Deagle in the hands of Risk, of course, that are all falling. Not exactly where they want to be. As Tekka goes aggressive down mid, completely unchecked, and a free kill for him with Ruben falling. Already numbers in their favour, but Aztec never should be able to make it all the way through mid and guarantee another kill. 9-10, of course, adding to his already quite impressive tally, with Yukino falling, and that opens up the B site. What's left of the CT side with their quite jangled buy, I think it's probably safe to say they're not going to be able to find too much.
I wouldn't be surprised to see them maybe try to hold on to the M4, although coming into this next round, I mean, yeah, Cash is going to be a mess, right? They're on like a, 2-round loss streak at that point?
Yeah. Not
great. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And it looks like that is going to be the call here. They're even holding on to the Deagle, right? I mean, they don't even want to risk losing that at this point. So, just, I suppose they've got like half armor as well. There's a little bit of util there. So, it's worth trying to hold on to what you can. That's a really nice, smooth round here from Born in Mongolia. As you say, a little bit of early aggression from, I think it was Hasteka, you said?
Yes.
Wait, did they have the double AWP for the entire round? Did I just clock
That's
that?
what I was thinking. Yeah.
Surely not.
No, it was actually just Imagine's thing was just doubled up for some reason. I think I might have dropped that and back in again.
What?
No. They dropped the AWP into his pit, but they didn't pick it up. They don't need a double up set. I think double up on a T side is quite risky. But yeah, as you mentioned, right?
Excessive.
Yeah. Hasteka's aggression down mid. I mean, fair play. He completely just goes dry all the way down mid, doesn't make a noise, gets a free kill into towards lower tunnels, but that never should happen. There always should be that mid cross and that potential that someone could make their way into towards suicide and just completely walk all the way forward. And the fact that they're able to get away with something like that is already starting to show ever so slight gaps in the armor of Never Say Never, right? We're seeing them potentially not quite communicating in the way that they want them to. They're not covering their angles. The crossfires aren't really set up. The isolate to fighting towards lower tunnels is a very high-risk, high reward. And yeah, granted, it wasn't the best of buys, but they never should be able to get away from that. It's already starting to show that the pick of Border Mongolia being that a Dust2 is maybe ever so slightly a weakness for Never Say Never.
Could very much be so, but I think it is still just kind of early days at the moment. It is just 4-3, and Never Say Never are going to have an opportunity to come back into this. Just to let you guys know, there is a slight tech pause here, so sometimes issues happen, and hopefully the teams are going to be able to get that sorted out fairly quickly. And that last round, it more or less went how we expected. We knew that Never Say Never were coming into this with a broken bye. There was a little bit of interesting aggression coming out here that gets left unchecked. So they do lose a player early on. They lose the second over on the B site. And I mean, you've got a solo B site anchor trying to just kind of hold on. And yeah, unfortunately, against all of the weaponry that Born in Mongolia were bringing into that, it was going to be difficult, the whole time at any point to try to bring that back around. So Born in Mongolia get themselves that next round here, and pretty stacked coming into this next round economically as well. They've been on a little bit of a tear. They haven't lost a player. They didn't lose a single player in the previous round. I don't think they did in the round before either. So, building up quite a buffer for themselves. We're going to see a very interesting aggressive push. Wait, didn't they save a FAMAS in the previous round? I swear they did. And now they just got pistols.
Not looking too good, right? Flame will be tested. Free kill from Miami, though. WSPS going to be able to tap him away, but then comes the AWP. Dropping out the trade. Now they know with the lower tunnels aggression that they have to be making their way towards a free site. That's exactly the case. Imagine they need to be careful, though, not to be caught off guard. A couple of taps coming through the smoke is causing slight issues as Tekka takes a bit of damage. But the fall back over towards backplat of the AWP leaves this one as a more or less confirmed round for Born in Mongolia. You look over towards Never Say Never. Yes, they got M4A1S to work with. An AK-47 collective of risk is a real nice little silver lining in a bad situation, but that's all they should be able to find. Exit frags is what they're opting for. Send their pistols in to potentially search for a little bit more of economical damage, but it's not going to make a difference in the grand scheme of things. Born in Mongolia about to find 5. As Ruben toying with the idea. A bit of damage on towards Vayne. Can he find anything more is the question. They're standing over towards that backside. Vayne going to find one, but he's going to fall. An AK collected. Oh, this is causing problems, or so I say. 9-10 finds the trade. Azteca will fall to the bomb as well. So, overall speaking, for Never Say Never, there's some real positive signs to be taken away from that. They find 3 kills. Granted, 1 is to the bomb, but 3 kills found when they realistically didn't invest too much. I mean, only some greater pistols being brought into it. Some real positive signs. And the fact that they also save an M4A1S and an AK-47 is already not too bad a round from them. It's, as I mentioned, silver lining in a bad situation. But the grand scheme is that they are 2 rounds behind Born in Mongolia on the CT side, which is starting to get a little bit dicey. Comes a bit of utility over towards Long. Trying to get that control immediately. It's being tested as well. Risto, swimming with the idea. Nado come forward as well. Slight bit of damage dealt on the left-hand side of the smoke, though. He finds Vayne. That's an important kill, but whether he even question that 9-10's pushing the smoke. And yes, he has. 9-10 and Flame combined for 1 apiece for Miami. In close and personal. Labored spray, but it comes on the top nonetheless. USPS pulled out and a missed AWP shot. Could be dicey.
No.
And it is. The M4 makes it 3, and it's all down to 1.
Oh, that is a pretty rough round from Born in Mongolia. I mean, so we spoke about how Never Say Never do really well on what was essentially a bit of an eco round for them. They only came in with the 1 rifle that they had kept from the previous round, and they managed to take out 2 of Born in Mongolia's players, with 1 of them dying to the bomb. So, they do quite a lot of damage to Born in Mongolia's economy, but they come into this round, and Born in Mongolia is still very much looking like they should be, very much in control of the situation. And again, it's another missed AWP shot that doesn't get value. And this nigga playing such a ballsy game here. I mean, he even spots out the AWP player and just chills there. Like, these players have no fear.
That's one way to put it as well. Same now has to be said for Azteca. They know exactly where he's coming from. Double flash to come over into towards Long to potentially allow him to make his way out of doors. But with 3 players waiting for him and 23 seconds to work with. He's at the done. Spines, spots the first, but it's only going to be 1. Miami in for the trade. And that makes it a quad kill to him. He single-handedly won that round for Never Say Never just off sheer aggression alone.
Oh, sometimes it's all you need, right? And they managed to pick up the AWP for themselves. They're going to bring that into the next rounds. That's going to save them a nice chunk of change into the next rounds. But it feels like these AWP players have been a little bit quiet and, reflexes maybe not quite where they need to be. Okay, as I say that, prove me wrong. Okay, well done, Risk there. Nice little opening shot onto Imagine, and that's him winning the AWP battle, in fact.
Yeah, that's an important one. Opening kill goes their way, but of course the AWP out of commission. Is exactly what Never Say Never were looking for. Now they've made their way down in towards mid. We've already kind of spoken about Azteca's aggression, getting this control, and of course, because of it, a lot of that map under his belt. The question how hard they want to play there. The B split has worked for them prior, but this time they got 2 players stacked there. That are Ruben, that'll suit the Yukino. So that tempo slowed right down. Flash can come forward momentarily, being set up for that short pop. Azteca dropped a smoke in towards CT, and now for the CTs, Never Say Never should have an understanding that they're probably going to make their way to that B split. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Oh, what a shot it is as well. Flame good for one. Can they make it a second? Yes, he does with ease. What an open over towards that B site. And that was completely under the control of Born in Mongolia.
Despite losing out Imagine very, very early on in the round, they're able to stabilize quite nicely. Went out an extra couple of battles later on the field. They have been chipped down quite heavily in their HP, so they are going to need to be a little bit more careful, but they're so grouped up for the most part on that B site. And it looks like they might just go, maybe not hunting necessarily, as we see Flame going on a little bit of an interesting lurk around the world. But it's Never Say Never that are going to be chilling and holding angles. They don't want to get caught on a cross, and they obviously don't want to get hunted down. So going to try and hold on to the few guns that they have available. And this is another round where Born in Mongolia have forced Never Say Never to have to save. I'm really impressed with this Born in Mongolia squad. They're doing incredibly well here. We talked about how Never Say Never played in the previous season. They had a pretty middling performance, but they made it into playoffs. Like, they did really well. And Born in Mongolia, a very new squad, still doing incredibly well for themselves.
Yeah, and that is a thing with the B-side Dust2, right? Statistically speaking, of course, over the last kind of tier 1, tier 2 event, it is the hardest site to retake in terms of the active map pool currently. And I think Never Say Never are all too aware. There's no point in trying to contest that retake with a numbers disadvantage and, of course, the utility disadvantage as well. They know they're not going to be able to make their way back forward, so they don't even give it a go. Nice opener from Azteca. We mentioned his aggression towards mid has been brilliant, but how about long? Looking to find one more, which he does, making it a double. The trade coming from Miami, but can he deny Azteca, who so far is on fire? 12 points of HP to work with, but imagine the AWP come in for support, and I imagine all he has to do is hold at range. It doesn't matter. 9-10's in for the flank. Got that short control in a matter of seconds. Flames open B, and, well, Born in Mongolia, it's no plan, just vibes, as they're making their way into every single part of the map itself and doming every single aim duel. In a matter of seconds, Ruben, all alone, 1 versus 4. And Sam, I think it's probably pretty safe to say that he's going to go for the save once again.
Mm-hmm. No plan, just vibes is pretty much how I live my life. So you know what? I approve. This was a wild one. Oh no, knife out. FOV just too low. Doesn't spot him there. Oh no. You know what? That's why your FOV, it's important to have that at a good spot. Well, unfortunate there. They don't manage to save that weapon. Born in Mongolia deny a 3rd save in a row and continue to create this buffer that we talk about so often. Bearing in mind this is their T side and they're doing incredibly well on it. And you're looking to, oh my god, he just spots like a bunch on the cross.
It's the information.
Imagine how, the sheer amount of information that gets given over at that point. Like, 3 people ran to B. Hey guys, let's go A.
They made their way into those lower tunnels. 9-10 is all too aware, and that's what the AWP's information finds. Ruben finds one of his own. Flame will fall. They got upper tunnels control, and so the Yukino comes in for support as well. Will they clear the coast right is the question. Risk a little bit of chip damage, but that's all they find. And now for the remaining players of Born in Mongolia, yes, the numbers are level, but they've got a free A site to go and contest, and no one there to keep them at bay. It means they can more or less get that plant down, get the post barn set up, and guarantee potentially around in their favor, unless the double AK setup one Deagle can deny, and that's not a bad start. One go in the way of Veneration. Imagine will fall even down to 2 AK-47s, but it's a double spray down for Azteca as he steps up huge. Deagle causing issues, but Vayne will clean things up, and that's 8 rounds. But Born in Mongolia, they guarantee themselves a lead heading in towards that second half, and a bad way to do so is once again another round where Never Say Never, just lackluster firepower, leaves them with so little to do.
Honestly, this Born in Mongolia squad, in map 1 so far, looking terrifying. I Never Say Never, I don't think they were really expecting it to be this one-sided. And of course, with yet another save denied. Okay, I suppose they didn't really go for a save in that one. They were just trying to see what they could get done. But they come back with the AWP, and again, Risk just had the one really good shot there, but the random spray through the smoke, the prediction from Born in Mongolia, and that's his B-side for free.
Born coming forward once again, and I think it's pretty safe to say that we won't really see too much of a retake here. I mean, as we stand, there's absolutely no backbone for the Never Say Never side in terms of getting back in towards the side. Numbers don't favour them. Now there's the utility and even the weaponry. Yes, they get an AWP in play, but so does Azteca in his hands. And they don't want to be able to, well, don't want to give the possibility of losing AWP. We saw it prior when Risk fell in towards Pit. That was problematic. At the very least, though, Miami does find one of his own. Molotov will come forward, probably deny any sort of aggression in towards CT. So he will keep this M4A4 ticking across. Risk is taking a big risk because he's dropped to low HP. Going to find the kill nonetheless. So economical damage is being dealt here. But it's not an issue as there's very little long-term left in this first half. They'll come forward. Miami will be able to stay alive. Yes, he will. Adds another kill to his level as we get into the penultimate round of the half. 9-4. And Born in Mongolia, they're gunning for double digits. Bit
of a risk there, I think, to go a hunting. But, you know, at this point, Born in Mongolia, they're not worried about losing one gun. Look at Azteca's money. I don't think I've ever seen anyone with that much money. It's absolutely ridiculous how well he's doing right now. And then, of course, you know, he's top fragging as well. We spoke about him. He was going to be the kind of standout player here for the squad. Now, Never Say Never. Look how much utility they're using towards long this time around. They know that long has been a favored push, but with this little bit of attention being taken to the long side, meanwhile, the push is coming in through short.
Risking for one. Make that a second as well. Full blind. Headshot through the box. Imagine didn't even know what hit him as he goes down. And a double opener for the AWPer of the CT side. Never Say Never gives them now a lot of security clarity over towards the A side and buys time for the rotation to come forward. Bomb will still be able to go down. The short plant will come in. But in a dicey spot for them to be in. They know a flank is all too possible, all too prevalent in their face. A respoke in towards that front and side of the A side though. 910's going to go aggressive. Damage dealt, but Risk finds one more. He's causing issues with the AWP. 910 caught off by the flashbang as well. But that ramp aggression going to work in their favour. And as 910 falls with 4 remaining alive, Never Say Never make it a 5th. They're trying to deny Born in Mongolia, making their way towards double digits. That's not a bad way to do so. That's a confidence play. That's a statement.
I mean, it takes Risk a while to come online. But in a round where it really, really did make a difference, he does actually manage to do so. We're now in this last round, and they've given themselves a little bit of momentum here, I suppose, and they get to hold on to the weapons that they had in the previous round, obviously, because they did such an exceptional job here. Now we're looking to Risk to kind of replicate that, right? We've kind of been talking about how the AWP players had been a little bit quiet for the most part, but in that round, it's good to see him start to step that up a little bit. And again, you know, I was talking about all of that utility that was being thrown down through long, and I got a little bit concerned because as the push starts to come through from Born in Mongolia, I'm like, okay, well, Never Say Never have used so much of their util. How are they going to make this happen? And that's why having those plays come through, having that AWP really step up, I mean, that's what you want from your AWP. You want to have those really, really high impact frags to ensure that yourself, you know, control at all times. So really solid performance there from Risk, but as I said before, can he replicate that?
AWP shot, rattle through mid, won't quite connect into the final round. Born in Mongolia looking for double digits, looking to make it a 10-5 half, but Never Say Never trying to at least bring that deficit slightly more even. Give them a possibility as well. With a 9-6 half, a pistol round in the favour of Never Say Never does give them that possibility of finding at least the first 2, if not 3 as well with a force by Antic. It's not about starts well, Sudiki, you know, the B lurk player, finding himself one. Flame will fall and our entries over towards that B site become all the more tougher. Man advantage for the CT side, and Never Say Never, all they have to do is take a step away and just hold. Risk's doing exactly that to the right-hand side of the smoke as Aristo goes for a slightly more aggressive stance. Going to sit on the long doors position and essentially cuts off any rotations they want to go for. This does become dicey. A minute left to work with.
I like seeing the slightly more aggressive play from Never Say Never on the B side because they realize that that's been a very weak point for them for the entirety of this half. And now with taking out that lurk play, that should secure themselves that site at the very least. But it's going to be the A site push, and there's potential here for the, you know, lurk wraparound. But Risk not going to replicate the previous round's results, and that's the AWP off the field.
Bombs planted. 4 versus 4, tough retake, especially when you consider the lack of space they got and they're walking straight in towards the graph. And then 9-10, or so I say. Miami running and gunning comes alive. Orb trying to find one of his own, spots the leg. Missed shot though of Azteca, and he needs to be careful. Him and Imagine both on quite limited amounts of HP makes this an all the more tougher hole, and with Vayne falling, this now becomes extremely tough. I imagine Will 4 and Aztec has to come alive, but he's unable to do so. The bomb so far ticked, they need to get on it immediately. It's still going to be a close one, but I think the round will go in favour of the CT side. And as we end round number 15 at 9-6, Border Mongolia take a lead. The question is, what can they find? Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you after the break. Hello, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Only a brief break before we're on the way back in towards our second half. Border Mongolia now on the CT side with a 3-round lead. Can they make it 4? As Magic goes aggressive in towards that mid-short position, trying to find one. Aztec has lost the arm. Will he be able to deliver? Not quite the case. The swing will come forward. Never say never, trying to get mid-control, but Vayne going to deny. Imagine will fall back as well. Numbers now in favour of Border Mongolia. And they're going to take a little bit more of a passive approach. That bomb making the rotation back away from A to go towards B. And it's only Flame over there.
And Border Mongolia looking pretty good right now. You know, we have to remember that they won the very first pistol round as well, so it did give them quite a little bit of a runaway, but never say never, looking to hopefully do the same here on their own T side in the first round. And they've managed to even out the numbers a little bit here. And again, I love this slower play. We talk about how chaotic pistol rounds can be.
Jumping into a CT as well. They're trying to kind of put the pressure on towards 9-10, but it's Imagine who's feeling it at the moment. He's so exposed, and Risk will make sure he's no longer a factor. As a 3 versus 3, they're going to make their way over towards that A side. The bomb going to be planted. And now how does the retake want to go about this? Losing Attacker, losing Imagine is quite the tough one. Speaking about how kind of important they were to the success, and with Risk holding, delivering with a P250, Flame's gonna fall, and now this becomes all the more tougher. One towards Goose, one crouched on towards Sight, and the pit player makes it a very, very difficult retake. And with the bomb planted for long as well, this now becomes dicey. Swinging in, Vega for 1, looks like a 2, which he does, somehow, some way coming out on top, and it's all down to one man. It's a tough one to say the least, because that range to PT50 can be prevalent, but 9-10 denies. What a round that is. The only problem is that without the kit, it's going to be oh so close. And I think Never Say Never have just about got this, and they have. No kit means no round, and Never Say Never make it a 7th.
Ah, so close there for Border Mongolia. I was watching that flame lurk, and I was really waiting to see if that was going to pay off. And unfortunately, you know, they're not really expecting Yukino to just be chilling down there. And so we didn't get to actually watch it, but it did happen. And then Border Mongolia with a really good resurgence as well, you know, to get those 2 kills on the site with that USP, get themselves the numbers advantage there. But Never Say Never do a really, really good time. really good job of running down the clock and burning out the time. So now, after getting that bomb plant, the extra bit of cash, Risk actually buying directly into a scout. And of course, this isn't completely out of the ordinary, but we didn't see him do it previously. So we'll see if he can get some value out of that. He did have a really standout round a few rounds back. The big thing for me is Imagine, who's actually bought up into a scout himself. And, we talk about how dangerous it can be buying up in a pistol round.
Ooh. Danger to come, but Vayne is even more. Double going in his name, looking for 3. Bomb dropped as well, and the scout now trying to cause issues. Smoke will come forward momentarily, but Vayne's Deagle causing problems. Looking to find one more. Damage has been down. That bomb still yet to be retrieved. As Vayne, with a hand cannon, nearly dropping Risk once further. He's now so low on HP, and a flash in his face makes his time all the tougher. When he comes to flank, Veneration will deny Vayne making it a 3k, and the scout of Imagine has to guard huge here. No scope, not going to quite connect, and it was an admirable effort by Vayne, but at least Flame now, all alone, 1 versus 3 bombers. Now being collected, making his way over towards the late site once again, and Flame at range. Got a lot to do to deny, but at the very least, take a little to work with, makes it doable. Veneration gonna fall, but low on HP. Deagle has to go huge as Suda Yakino at range denies. 8-9 on the score. Born in Mongolia, who came in with a 3-round lead, is now down to only 1.
Quite a bit of cash spent into that round, but Born in Mongolia, they do relatively well, all things considered. They do a ton of damage to Never Say Never, get quite a few of those players off the board there, and I'm still replaying the Deagle one-shots from the start of that round. That was absolutely disgusting from Vayne. Unfortunately, his tirade gets cut short towards the end there, and Never Say Never do, in fact, come out on top of a round that they realistically should have come out on top of. They're just a little bit closer than what they would have wanted. They come into this with a few AKs, so again, looking to take this round pretty handedly.
Doing exactly that. I mean, it's very comfortable as we stand. Only 2 remain alive. The Born in Mongolia with 2 USPs. I think, Sam, you could probably make the early guess that this is going to be this game being tied up 9 rounds apiece. But the question now has to be going forward for Born in Mongolia, how do I want to play this? Because what was actually a very stellar team side from them, the start of the CT's not really been the same. It's a flawless round for the T-side. Never Say Never. Born in Mongolia's first full buy now. This is one of which is a necessity. Failure to convert this leaves them in a double eco situation once again, and then they get kind of stuck in that brutal cycle.
It is still early in the second half. We'll see if things can start to turn around again. As now, yeah, this is where things are going to start to get interesting, right? So we've got an AWP versus a scout. Risk is going to be holding on to what he had in the previous round there. See if he can get some value out of that. Oh no, Imagine. And Imagine was the one with the AWP, so taking him off the board is not ideal. Just stuck in a rough place and no one really to check the other angle. There's so many angles there. It was such a dangerous angle to hold.
It's aggressive and he paid the price for it. Rotation being made back over towards mid. 9-10 all too aware that aggression coming forward, but risking a fall himself. Scopes out of the question now as a Molotov will be dropping towards short, forcing an aggressive peek. And with Veneration out of the fray, numbers still favour the CT, but only just as Vader taking heavy damage. 9-10 coming in support, makes it 1. Dink on towards the second, but Suda Yukino trades. And it's all down to 2. Vader going to play oh so aggressive himself, going to fall in towards that smoke. It's quite a smart way to play it as well. He knows he's got some security, but he walks back in towards the Molotov. Vayne, a rookie mistake, punishes. But fortunately enough for him, Hasteka stepping up, dropping Ruben, leaves Suda Yukino all alone. And with 9 points of HP and the sound cues made that are exactly where he's coming from. 38 seconds left to work with the rotation being made back over towards short, and Flame is all too aware of where the ADK-47 is coming from, and down it falls. That was looking dicey, very dicey indeed, especially when Vayne fell. But fortunately, a bit of security came forward. Born in Mongolia, the first side hit double digits, and around that was a necessity for them. They had to find their first full buy.
Yeah, again, I want to talk about that deep angle that we saw Imagine taking. It was a pretty dangerous spot to be in because he didn't really have a ton of backup from the rest of the team. So he gets taken down very early on. But he does get quite a bit of information off the back of it. He feeds that back to the rest of his team, and they are then able to stabilize, readjust, and bring the round back in their favor. Unfortunately, as we come into this round, Hasteka with a little bit of maybe some overconfident aggression there immediately gets deleted. And that's a pretty solid start to the round here.
Not a bad way to start things off, and especially with a double as well. Hasteka and Vayne falling, important kills. now a couple of questions have to start being asked. You look at what kind of the remaining players over towards Born in Mongolia, especially when you kind of highlights the disparities in some. You got 9-10, who's had a fantastic game so far, and imagine the Orpa, who's been kind of uncharacteristically quiet. This is where things do become a little bit dicey in a 5 versus 3 situation. 9-10 trying to go aggressive, spotting out one. Might be able to find one of his own, though, and he does. Not able to transfer the spray on towards Miami as you trade things out. Damage dealt is good, but it's not good enough. As the 2 remaining of Born in Mongolia got such a tall order above them to try and deny a 2 versus 4, going in favour of Never Say Never. And of course, the T side once again tying this game back up as a default back over towards short seems to be where they're posturing towards. And Imagine got such a tough dog. One towards the side, and he'll fall to the hands of Risk. A domes him out of the round, and that leaves Flame all alone, 1 versus 4, and surely just a safe call now.
This is another round where some interesting aggressive peaks from Born in Mongolia kind of translate into disaster. All right, so the round before, they were able to stabilize quite nicely at the very least, so they get themselves that round win. But in this round, unfortunately, they're not able to make that happen. It's a staker that goes down really early on, and what we know about how much of a difference maker he has been for a lot of these rounds, and so to take him off the board and not get a ton of info for it. I think he spots out 2 players, and you can realistically expect at least 1 player to be in lowers there. So unfortunately, the trade-off isn't great. And Never Say Never are able to pivot off of that very, very well. I mean, immediately they figure, okay, there's someone kind of lurking out that way. They're going to start heading over towards the A site. They lock it down, and Born in Mongolia are forced into a rough spot again. So I'm kind of hoping, I mean, the aggressive players have been kind of hit or miss, and I want to see if they do that, a little bit more support from the rest of the team, I suppose, because it's usually that one person who's just kind of going out on his own mission, right? And there's no one really there to back him up. So they need to have a little bit more support for their players, because I like the aggressive pushes, but you can't just do that on your own.
No. It's kind of a nice idea, but the execution is where things do, for me, become a little bit uncomfortable. Ruben, what an opener. 9-10 going to fall. That's very comfortably opened up that B side. Smoking towards double doors leaves it more or less a confirmed affair that the bomb we planted over towards B. And for the remaining players of Born in Mongolia, especially that AK-47 in the hands of Flame, is just keep an eye. It has to be a priority, but he's going to fall from behind. Veneration making a 3K spray down. Bane and Azteca follow suit to their fallen brethren, and all down to 1 man. It's Imagine with an eagle in hands, and so little to work with here to try and deny anything. Even finding a kill seems like a shot in the dark here, but he'll do exactly that. Does he opt to go for the AK-47 collection? No, going to fall back over towards A, but he's even aware of the players lurking over towards Ramsey, walking straight in towards his snare, and there it is. Veneration, what a round it is. And, well, as we speak, what was quite the healthy gap for Born in Mongolia coming in towards the second half. It's Never Say Never, who are looking like they could potentially pull away.
Well, I suppose they're living up to their name. Never say never.
Exactly.
Indeed. Doing very well here to bring it back. And of course, that was more or less what we expected to come out of that round. I mean, Born in Mongolia had, what, 1 rifle? It wasn't a hell of a lot in the first place. Now, however, we're seeing again a nice little bit of util usage over towards long. They know that this can work out quite nicely for them, but losing the first engagement isn't great.
Azteca over double, but traded out to the Yukino. Bringing the numbers level, but only just. The lack of control that now the T-side have is becoming a slight issue. But the same can be said for the A-side, generally speaking. Born in Mongolia have completely given up that control, and they're relying on Imagine to lock things down from pit. And that is asking a lot with kind of how slow of a game he's been having so far. It's a problematic one. Jump smoking towards double doors, fall back over towards that A site, and bank on the fact that they're making that rotation back towards B. And 9-10 seems to have a slight inkling. Not going to go for the pixel peak. Soundkeys have been heard, though, and he can play timing brilliantly. They're making their way over towards that B side. They walk straight in towards the grass of the Flame. Going to find one. Smoking towards the front-hand side of the tunnel. Gives him an easy peek if he wants to play it, which he does as he finds one. Looking to make it 2. Tapping away, but it's risk to deny. And it's all down to 1. That'll risk with 10 points of HP. I've spoken towards double doors. Will he even expect the flank is the question? I don't think he will. Denied from behind. 9-10 ties this game back up. Orb collected, and well, Sam, it looks like potentially we could be going the full distance here, map number 1.
That Molotov went straight over 9-10's head, and so they just weren't expecting him to have pushed that far into the smoke. little bit unlucky there. I liked the aggression from Born in Mongolia down long, and it was exactly what I was saying. Not just one person pushing out on their own and just getting absolutely obliterated. 3 of their players push down, and yes, it does go a little back and forth, and they wind up down to the 3 versus 3 there, but they're able to stabilize quite nicely towards the end. And again, here, another pretty aggressive play, but it doesn't work out.
Well, that does. Federation finding one towards Azteca is we speak about that aggression being problematic, and another prime example where CT aggression for Born in Mongolia is actually becoming more costly for them. Luckily for them, the double AWPs are working well. One apiece, we'll imagine. And 9-10 brings the numbers level, and of course, more importantly, that bomb dropped. They got an understanding of where it was, now collected, makes its way back over towards long doors, where we see just one man holding. Imagine. The rotation coming in for 9-10 as well, leaving the double up setup over towards A, which works perfectly for them because that's where it seems like the bomb is posturing towards.
Nice little recovery there from Born in Mongolia, forcing Never Say Die to really have to rethink their strategy in this round. Really have to try and stabilize a little bit more. You actually see them taking the long way around over towards the B side because they know they have to be quick, but they don't want to give away too much information. And of course, you know, running through mid, you're very likely to get caught out quite easily. You can see Flame watching this quite strictly. So now they start to make that move over towards B. They've got quite a bit of util left in the tank still. So this is very, very possible. But Born in Mongolia have realized this is what's the play. And they start moving across. And that's bomb.
Oh, there we go. Flame. The flank comes in, 15 seconds left to work with, and there's nothing Yukino can do here. Potentially an exit frag or 2, but not even going to be that. 9-10. The aggro peak with the AWP, shotgun AWPing, comes alive. I question Born in Mongolia's CT aggression at the start of this round, losing the initial 2 men, especially when Azteca fell as well. That's when I was saying, okay, I think a problematic round where they overextend and pay the price for it, but no, credit where credit's due. The double AWP setup works brilliantly for them. Born in Mongolia drag the round back in their favor. From a 5-3 disadvantage, they make it a 12th round, and of course, more importantly, just destroy the economy of the T side. Never Say Never was so little to work with. They walk straight in towards Vane. 1, 2 gonna go his way as the Pistols are unable to deny, and as they make their way down through mid, it should be a comfortable cleanup. But from behind, he's gonna fall.
I was watching that rotation. That was funny. He had his back turned the whole way. But there you go. Flame is there to trade it back. And then some. That's going to be a pretty simple round going over for Born in Mongolia. And of course, again, it's what we pretty much expected to come out of that round. That time around, you know, I'm not going to question the aggression down into under because, like, yeah, it paid off. And, you know, they knew they were going into pistol. So not going to be the end of the world, yeah. Now, as we get ourselves closer and closer towards the end of this map, potentially, of course, Born in Mongolia now on 13 points. If they win this round, they're on match point. Never Say Never has to come up huge, and unfortunately, okay, it's traded. It's not too bad.
Yeah. Full blind as well, spam through the smoke. Federation's going to come out on top. That's exactly what they were looking for somehow. In fact, Federation finding so much space over towards that long is exactly what they were looking for to kickstart things. Numbers level. As a slow takeover towards long seems to be the priority at range. Azteca has to try and deny, though. Smoking towards front outside of sight. What they're looking for. And he's going to fall. Federation makes it yet another kill to his name. And this is now becoming a really uncomfortable affair. Orb shot doesn't quite connect as 9-10 going to rotate back over towards short. And with a minute left on the clock, numbers favouring the T side makes this a very, very doable affair in towards round number 25. Smoke towards front outside of sight. Flash going to come forward as well to give a little bit of space for 9-10 to work with. The Molotov won't quite connect, and that denies all the control he was hoping for. Slight gap to work with below it, but I don't think he's going to be able to find too much. Avoids the flash himself. And a double swing from short. It's a tough one to say the least. First kill going the way of Ruben. Make that a second 2. 12th collective for Never Say Never. That was all off the back of that long control.
Such a solid round here from Never Say Never. As you say, long control, super, super important. And it's not like it's something super out of the ordinary for Never Say Never. I mean, they've been doing a really good job of constantly kind of swapping up what they're doing from round to round. They're never doing the same thing twice. They're not allowing themselves to become too telegraphed. And so they have some nice aggression over towards long. And that has backfired for them previously. I mean, Mongolia have had some really good defenses over towards A long. But this time around, however, Never Say Never who wind up coming out on top of it, and quite handedly at that. So very close to evening out the scoreline once again, as we have a little bit of a tech issue here. You see one of the players is Azteca. He seems he's no, not Azteca. I have them on the wrong sides. But one of the players seems to have dropped out. So we're going to try and get them back in as soon as possible. But in the meantime, we take a look at the economy here for both of these two teams. Born in Mongolia, despite having lost that previous round, they did manage to keep a little bit of extra cash in their back pocket. So at least they should still come into this round fairly well off. And they are still going to have the they're still going to have the AWP available. Whereas Never Say Never, I mean, they've been building that up. And after winning that previous round, they're not too concerned. They're going to try and get this onto a bit of a streak. Now, this should be one of those rounds that's on fairly equal footing, which means it can go either way. So I'll be kind of looking to both of these two teams. I'm looking to Born in Mongolia to see, well, are they going to go for these kind of hyper-aggressive plays that we've seen from them previously? Try and, catch Never Say Never off guard, and is that going to backfire? And of course, I'm looking to Never Say Never. Where are you pushing this time? We've seen them for the A long pushes, we've seen them for the short pushes, and a lot of them have worked out quite nicely.
Yeah, unfortunately, Miami back in the server, and Ruben kicks off things brilliantly. Opening kill, Azteca falling is an important one to say the least. Smoking towards long doors, but the control looking like it's in favor now of Never Say Never. Nice opener as they want to tie this game back up. 13 rounds apiece, and what a bad way to do so. Back into a short vein, going to just lead the charge. Miami just got back in the server, going to drop a smoke, or not, in fact. Going to hold it to go for that. Yeah, that's the split coming to come forward now. And that's where they're potentially looking at what posture towards. Go over towards that short control and kind of toy with the idea of an A split as they're slowly maneuvering in that direction. But look at the anti-flash being played here. Imagine, Vayne holding down the fort, slowing down the tempo, not taking an aggro peak though, and that could become problematic. If Risk dry peaks this, they're going to be able to pick up a free kill, may I say. That should be the case. In comes some utility coming forward. Or be forced off the angle, holding from range as well. Smoke in the face, Vayne going to sit in front of it. Caught up by the flash though, and down he goes. That's an important one. Sudi Aquino finds yet another kill, and imagine now left in a very isolated spot now over to a short.
Solid utility work here from Never Say. Oh my god! Okay, imagine. Sure, why the hell not? And that's going to get them at least one kill here. There's still two players here on this A site to try to lock it down. Can they hold their angles? Nope, one goes down. It's down to the 2 versus 3.
Oh, the flash coming forward at the right time. 9-10 versus 1, but it's only one. Unfortunately, Ruben, Risk, both low on HP, but staying alive is a priority, and I think this more or less should be a closed out round. Swinging forward from Pitt. A little bit of a laboured spray from Risk, but he'll close it out nonetheless. That's the game once again tied up. 13 rounds apiece, but I think the most important thing is Never Say Never, they've broken that CT economy. You look over towards Born in Mongolia, and for the most part, they can't even pick up upgraded pistols. 9-10 could go for a P250, but they want to stick around that 2k mark, so they're just going to go for the quintuple USPSs and just kind of hope to find a couple of consolation kills.
This is Zeus, so
nothing.
Got that going for us. Not too sure how much that's gonna get done, but hey, it's there and it's a possibility. Yeah, so just off the back of like some really solid util play in the previous round, I know like this is more or less a telegraph round. Okay, this is an interesting look from Azteca. No.
Oh,
no,
it's money in the bank.
Not like this. Not like this.
That's really smart as well. He guarantees the knife kill means money in the bank, and of course an orb collected too is exactly where you want to be. Now the orb falling back over towards short because they are going on something that surely is going towards A now. And Vayne's going to stay alive. Laboured USPS taps, and he should have been able to guarantee a kill there, and with the denial of that, this now becomes uncomfortable. That should have been another kill in favour of the pistols, but no, not being the case. Azteca rotating his way back forward. But of course, what he's going to be met with is nothing. Silence, airs. The long rotate has been flooding all the way back. And I think they might even now go for that B split.
Interesting that they are kind of abandoning the A site entirely. But of course, they know that they've got quite a bit of time available. And given where that kill happened, it's likely that Azteca is going to be over towards the A site. And I mean, why would you want to risk that unnecessarily? Especially when you look at the actual player Risk, who's down to like 10 HP. You want to rather just see if you can make this as safe as possible. You also want to come into the next round as stacked as possible, because their econ isn't great either.
Well, I imagine will fall. I think, realistically speaking, Azteca with that AWP, for him, it's about staying alive. We'll take a Zeus kill. 9-10. He brought it in for a reason. Gets the use out of it, so not the end of the world. Azteca now going very aggressive with an orb. No scoping at range. Never going to connect. Let's be realistic there. That's not going to find his target. That's an orb that should have been saved across. Not, I mean, pick back up again and put it in the hands of Risk if he wants it. I mean, that is a Another sort of slight misplay I would want to say from Azteca. He should have gone very passive, maybe post up in towards Goose, for example, or maybe in towards Pit. Tried to guarantee the AWP sticking across because, you know, for the CT side, yes, they could pick one up, but, you know, it would be nicer for the economy in the long term, especially with this game looking towards going the full regulation, swinging in. Azteca spotting out one, doesn't even clear the close left position. In towards Pit, risking to get out there for free. They haven't even checked it, all cleared it, all considered it. 1, 2 looking for 2, not going to find it. Missed shots, and Imagine just steps up. Can he make it a second at range? Not going to be able to find it. Miami in for the trade, brings the numbers back level, and Vayne at range with AWP has to step up, which he does brilliantly. 1 kill going his way and falling away unscathed in that occasion. For what they were looking for, but Suda Yukino good for 1. Dropping 9-10, an important frag to find. Spam to the door. Damage dealt. Kill not collected, though. And it's all left down to 1 man. Miami, an AK-47 in a 1 versus 2, but the low HP of Born in Mongolia is so tough.
Oh, that was so painful to watch. That could have cost Mongolia not only the round, but the game, potentially.
Yeah.
We're heading so close to this match point scenario here, and like you said, 1 versus 2. He manages to get the 1. The AWP is still in play, and he bests it quite handily there. There you go. Match point for Never Say Never. And honestly, I cannot emphasize enough how ridiculous that long play was. For Risk to be able to get into their backline so easily and no one noticed it. I mean, okay, sure, you're kind of hyper-focusing on what's right in front of you, right? There's a player there, we need to kill him, but you don't notice the second player slipping around. It's a massive misplay. And now Border Mongolia, their economy is a wreck! They've got nothing just about. They've got 2 scouts. I mean, there's so little here to try and pull this back. And this is match point. I think that literally off the back of that round, that's pretty much cost them this map.
Yeah, I have to agree with a
And
very
it's their map pick.
limited by exactly that, hitting it on the head. It's Born in Mongolia's map pick, and just never say never on map points. Map number 1 of the series, or day number 1 of the ESL Challenger League Asian Division. I mean, not the worst start for a side who managed to clinch playoffs in Season 40, looking to do it one better into Season 41. Imagine that range, holding with a scout. They know there's a slight bit of movement in that deep, long position, but this time Border Mongolia haven't gone aggressive. Now the scout trying to come alive. Damage dealt, but it's risky. AWP that just does 1 better. Smoke coming forward in towards CT, 1 in towards long as well. And Miami should be able to pick up a free kill. Not gonna find it though, Azteca with the FAMAS coming alive. Can he deny anymore? It's the question. Make that a yes as he drops Risk, but it's Veneration in for the trade. 3 versus 3 as they're making their way over towards that A site. And it's only 9-10 who have the ability to deny. Scouts jumping, being spotted out as well. Aristo going to be able to find that kill. 9-10 will fall. So will Vayne. It's all down to 1 man. It's played all alone to be able to deny it. And he does find himself 1. But the question is, what more can he deliver on? The low HP makes it a doable affair, but the post barn is set up. Will he be able to clutch this one out in a 1 versus 2? 13 points for Ruben. 8 for Aristo, and it's brought back to a 1 versus 1. The goes out position. No, he doesn't. And just like that, never to never take their opponent's map pick. Ladies and